Hey Scrappy friends, welcome back. I'm trying the camera at a different angle in the hopes you don't get the glaring glasses and I can keep them on and see you. Helen here, welcome back to my channel. It's not quite working, is it? I have today day 7 of 30 Days Sketches. It is a double sketch from Sarah Fletcher Thorne, and it's this sketch here. And it's a double page, and I'm going to be scrapping photos from Florence. And it's like the photos, the story I'm telling is about how you're walking around Florence, you've got this beautiful architecture, beautiful shops with lovely displays, and then you just keep on happening up on squares. You don't know where you're going. I didn't know Florence, I hadn't had a plan for Florence other than going up to the great big hill. So I didn't really know it. And you just keep happening upon these beautiful squares with churches or museums and statues and fountain, and it's just beautiful. And then all of a sudden there's a bridge with houses built on the bridge. It's just amazing. So that's what today's page is about. 30 Day Sketches, so there will be links in the description related to that. It's also my weekly Inspiration series, and I'm going to be using this layout from Tachia 55. I never pronounce her name correctly, I'm so sorry. And the inspiration from that is the background. I've got an idea. I wanted to do a painty background, and I'm going to do that with some different stencils and stamps rather than the Vicky Booten stencils. I'll show you closer when we get to the desk. But before we get to that, if you're not already a subscriber, please think about hitting that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you know when I next post a video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments what you've enjoyed. And if you're not sure what to say, just leave an emoji for the sake of engagement. That out the way, let's get scrapping.
So, started with 2 white pieces of card for my double page, and these are my photos, me and Mr. Ding in Florence. And there's pictures of my sister and my sister and brother-in-law, and then the statues and fountains and church, etc. That we saw on this walk. So, as I said, I started with 2 white backgrounds. I'm going to use the largest of the coffee ring splats, and I'm going to create something like what you can see on that photos on the page. That on the page, the inspiration piece from Instagram that came up is using the Bold and Bright Vicky Booten stencil. I don't have that, and I thought there's no way I'm going to get it all lined up nicely. So what I'm going to do is on the sketch on the left hand side, it's got these two big circles. So what I thought I'd do instead is use that coffee ring stamp and do my coffee ring circles coming down the page. I'm just going through the Flower Emporium papers here. So I choose a sheet from the starters, which is this one with kind of like the craft paper crinkled up, layered over the grid paper, and I choose the grid paper piece from the paper pack for my right hand page. I'm just going to trim off the border strips. I do mess up slightly on the left hand side. I haven't put in the trimmer straight. That's a me issue. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go with it. I actually forgot it wasn't quite right until I watched this back. I'm just showing you there that that's a flap on that far left. This is just the piece I had where I had to play what I was doing, and I'm just showing you the Natalie D'Souza picture from Vicky Booten Creative Community on Facebook with the ink colours. I am going to use the purples to greens, so we're going to start with Dusty Concord, and I am sticking the 2 pieces together with a bit of washi, just getting some of the stick off there, because one of the stamps is going to go over the join, so I wanted it all lined up. So starting with Dusty Concord, just inking up my stamp. I'm getting a white ready. Going to stamp it there in the top left. Just going to all over even pressure. These are Hey Little Magpie stamps, by the way. A little bit of ink on the ink block. I'm showing you there. I hadn't realised these were kids' paintbrushes when I bought them. I just saw the brush end. I thought, oh, like that. Um, just using some water and picking the ink up off the stamp. I start by going round and pulling it in off the stamped part of the image. I then add some more ink to the stamp block, and just float more ink in with a little bit more water. Second colour there is it something lilac faded? Is it faded lilac, shaded lilac? It's the lilac colour anyway. And I'm just turning the stamp so that the splats are coming out at a different angle, but doing the same, just stamping it on. Add a little bit ink to the stamp block, and then with water on my brush, pulling the ink in from around the ring, and then picking up more pigment off the stamp and what I've stamped onto the ink block, stamp block. These paler colours, I probably worked this a little bit more than I normally would do without gesso on the background. You can always go in and add a second layer if you want it deeper. I'm really happy with this when it dries. I've left the drying in there because I'm showing you how I'm moving the paper about to get the ink to move around the image. This is the third colour. It's Prize Ribbon. Again, turning the stamp to give me a different angle on the splats. By this point, my poorly left thumb is really hurting. In case of water, pulling it in. You can see better on this one, this effect of pulling it in with the water from a brush from the side, because it is just such, a rich dark colour. And just adding floating more pigment in, adding a little bit more to my brush to add more pigment in. Yeah, I pulled them apart by moving them about, stick them back down again. Again, going to show you the dry in because I am moving the ink around on purpose, doing this with intent, just to give those different shades and texture and movement in the ink on the finish when it's dry. This is, oh my gosh, I can't see the colour. No, can't remember the colour. Bear with. So why? Just watch me paint. I have to find you the colour name. No, I have deleted the photo. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to bring that in. Is it Rustic Wilderness? And then same again, dry off the block, and then use the heat gun to dry it. You can leave it to dry on its own. You don't have to heat set it. And just remember, you are drying it, not baking it. I think that's something that Vicky says, and it's so true. So with the last one, which is Mowed Lawn, I don't want the ink to go over the brown bit, the craft bit. And also as well, I don't want to use a straight, just flat piece of washi because it is all shaped along there. It's not a straight edge. I am just stamping again, ink blot turned a little bit, and adding ink to the ink pad, to the stamp block even, getting some water. Oh yeah, I realise again then with pulling this water over, I've got to try and protect the craft part of it. So just bring the washi back in, and then just adding water and more ink, and yeah, just adding it in so it's deeper rich colour in some parts. I pull the washi away, it's like, oh yeah, there was that blank bit, so I am just going to add some more water, some more ink in. Don't just add it into that bit of mist, I add it elsewhere so it does look like there's different depths of the colour. And there we go. I am so happy with how these rings turned out. I do think about going in and doing an outline with a black, and I decide no, I'm just going to leave it as it is. I'm just laying everything back down again. So, excuse me, sorry. There's a strip along going left to right, and I realise it doesn't go all the way to the end. So there's that to have a think about. Oh, just gonna put stamps away. Also as well what paper I'm going to use for the flap. So I do decide to go for the blue because, you know, the prize ribbon with the water added to it is very, very close to this. So I cut a 6.5 inch strip. This is from the Staples pack. And I'm going to score it at 5.5 inches. So you've got 6.5 inch square on the front as the mat for the photo, and then you've got a 5.5 by 6.5 inch that's going to be the piece that sticks it to the background, and that's where my journaling block is going to sit on that. So there we go, that's that sorted. Right, so next, this is when I come to do the strip across the page. Oh, no, it's not. Pulling the rub-ons out, having a look through the rub-ons, I do end up as well faffing about putting them all back into a packet as well. But yeah, just having a look through, decide that I want the piece about the story of today over on the side because the journaling is going under there, and I take this green sort of lacy layered piece and have that as a layer underneath what's the subtitle or quote on the sketch. So pop these ones away, and as I'm putting them away, I'm looking at the title strips, and yeah, remember these days, I feel is a good title. You do see me stapling again, a Vicky tip. Staple your backing sheet to your um, release paper so that it doesn't go off or wandering. I do split the title because I want to remember over at the side because we read left to right. So thumb, give up the goose here. So I have had a little rest and put my splint on. I usually only sleep in this. That's why I don't usually wear it. So I've cut now a 4 inch wide piece of the leftover from that blue piece. I've trimmed the photos down so there's not as thick a white border around the photos. So 4 inch strip is perfect. And then I've just cut that exactly in half. It's 4 by 6 inch blocks, and just mounted my photos on them. I'm going to bring in the ephemera now. Oh no, I'm not. This is really is when I do the strips. I've said I'm doing the strips quite a few times. I've actually got started going through the embellishments to see, because there's a few like border things in the embellishments, and I think I've used all the ones that would be long enough. So I am just using the branding strips off for a couple of pieces to come across. I'm just marking what line on the background paper that I want this to go up to, so I know where I'm cutting. And I am no good with a craft knife, but I do give it a go, and I cut a slit in the background for this piece, for this border strip to go through and disappear. So it looks like the papers are layered on after I have done that border, after I've added the border strip to the background. Okay, so yeah, wandered off, had a little rest again for my hand, took my splint off, and I'm back without my splint on. Just moving things out of the way at the back so I don't knock it over whilst I'm sorting out. I decide with this border strip that I'm just going to overhang it and trim it off so that I'm not trying to, a little bit of a time to get it exactly right. So I just stick it and then trim it instead. Just lining the backgrounds up again to each other to, to be able to make sure I've got my border piece in the right place, and then bring in my T-square ruler to get that straight. My T-square ruler, by the way, is what I get for buying a cheap one because it's the only one that was available on next day delivery. Doesn't measure right. By the time it gets to 6 inches, it's about an eighth of an inch out. So no wonder I'm driving myself potty trying to get things lined up exactly because my ruler's wrong. So just pointing out the embellishment clusters on the sketch there, and I am going to bring in the my embellishment trays to sort out the huge pack of icon ephemera in this collection. I cut all that out because you don't want to watch me doing that. I decide that I want to do one of these gorgeous little layered flower pots that this basically was the idea in a lot of the ephemera pieces that are designed in this collection. So I'm just having a play about with that. I put a couple of the long stem flower clusters in, some of the gypsophilia. Is it called? I'm sure it's called gypsophilia. Some of the gypsophilia in, and I'm really happy with that. And that is going to be a cluster along the side of the photo of me, on the left-hand page. So yeah, just having another little play with what's there. There we go. So happy with that. As for the right hand side, got to bear in mind that when you open that flap, you don't want anything that overlaps the fold, because then the flap's not going to open. So I'm just having a look through what there is and putting away what I know I'm definitely not going to use, because I want to get the flower clusters into a tray as well. It's really weird actually, because I've thought I'd use these hearts going across the page and I haven't. That's why I kept them out. Just trying with another little sprig there, decide no, I'm happy with just the 2 bits of gypsophilia. So I'll put them back away. So we've got this yellow bit, excuse me, and that's going to tuck under. I do forget that I wanted it to tuck under, so it does end up getting cut down. And I decide I want to put this as just an inside little treat when you open the flap to see the photos that are hidden. Just to, a little bit of interest on that page as well. Don't normally do hidden journaling. I don't do flaps and pulley things on like a 12 by 12 layout that's going into page protectors, because very much, what's the point? I've got it in a page protector. Why am I going to do something that needs it pulling out? I have actually got a craft knife out and cut a hole in my page protector for a slit for that flap to come out of. So I just embraced it. I just went with it. I'm not going to be as precious. At the end of the day, these albums are for me, for my enjoyment of the craft. We don't have any children. My nieces have said that they'll have my albums when the inevitable happens. What's the old quote? The only thing that's certain in life is death and taxes. So my nieces have said they'll have my albums. So there'll be, quite a few that won't have stuff relevant for them that they might not keep, and then there'll be others that there is. So this is done purely for my joy of the craft, and yeah. So I'm not going to be. I've stopped being as precious as I used to be with the everything being behind the page protectors for it to be protected and last forever. At the end of the day, I'm printing digital photos on photo paper, and they don't last as well as film photos that have been developed properly. So just embrace it. Anyway, so I've put foam down 1/2 of my little flower pot, to raise that up to the same as the photos, and foam pads on the photos as well to give them a bit of height. And now I am doing my title. So I've used my bone folder to release the rub-ons, added the large 2 words, put on my cluster of yellow flowers, and then added the smaller one so I can get it lined up where I'm happy. Coming on to the other page, so let's get the left one out of the way, and we're going to start with the rub-ons, because where the rub-ons are placed, the photo mat's then going to go over. I put them down, then realised they're not quite where I wanted them, but by that point it's too late, because the stick on these are amazing. These rub-ons are such good quality, so much better than back when I used to use rub-ons in the 90s for card making. They're just amazing, the next level. So just layer up the story of today, my little subtitle over that border strip, and then we are going to stick the photos mat down. Oh, this little cluster, this gets moved so much. I want it just so. I want it so it's on the edge of that mat, half and half, like half and half on that mat. But I also don't want it showing out the front. And thinking about it now, probably how I embellish along that edge, you wouldn't have seen it where it was originally. But I'm really happy with how it is, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Because I've done the adhesive all the way to the edge on sticking my flap down, I have had to cut this piece down. I have done it so it is no wider than an inch at its widest points. So here again, this is going to get moved because I don't want the flowers sticking out when the flap's closed. And again, these would have been covered by what is going to embellish on the side of there. I want a bulldog clip. I was just showing you there on the stickers. I want a bulldog clip, but they're too small on the stickers. So I get the journaling. Oh yes, yeah, this is the journaling. I get the journaling ephemera pack out and I just dump it out on the desk and sort through it and put it away as I know I get to a bit that I'm definitely not going to use. I start putting it away as I'm sorting. I do find some word pieces that I end up using instead of the 3 arrows alongside the photo, but here's the bulldog clip. I found it. So that's going to go there as my little tag or tab for lifting the flap up, lifting the photos up. I want to put something along that right hand side of the photos, but again, I can't have anything that's hanging over. So I do audition quite a few pieces. Just pop in the date on there, and I've put 2025. I've just realised it was 2024. I'm going to have to change that. I'll have to put a label over the label to change that. It was the 5th of December 2024. I've only just realised I put 2025. Oh well. Another bulldog clip there. I'm going to stick this onto the back of the first one. So when you open it, you still get that effect of the bulldog clip. You're not just getting a white card piece. And I put another label over the back of the existing label to, again, you've got that interest on a embellishment piece there as well. I keep on using my thumb and then going out. Oh gosh. So yeah, just now it is just a case of finishing the embellishing off, deciding what I'm going to do with my journaling. So I need a journaling block. I thought I was going to use one of the ledger pieces from the 6x8 pack. It was my original plan of trimming one of them down, but you'll see what I do instead in a moment. I'm just pulling out some of the words as well as I'm putting things away to put instead of the embellishments alongside. So I decided I want a little cluster here. So this does change again. um, but yeah, I like that, but it does change again. I'm really sorry if you can hear a car horn. We have a neighbour whose friend comes and picks them up every day and insists on not getting out of the car and knocking on the front door like, a polite human being would do. Anyway, he sits there on his horn for like 10 minutes until they come out. So I've got one of the book pockets and I'm going to use this as my spot for my journaling. So not only have I got hidden journaling that I never do, I've also got a tag for my journaling. So, definitely embracing the things being in things that can't be behind a page protector if they're going to be interactive. So I've put a punch on just to weigh that book pocket down, get that out of the way. It's off on the side of my desk, and I'm just going to finish off the left-hand page. So again, foam pads on the back of this word strip. I have moved this from the right because it's being longer. I felt it will go better there. And then just sliding away everything from the journaling ephemera that I know I'm not going to use now. I've got everything out of that pack that I need to use. These are the chipboard pieces. These are nice and thin chipboard. They add a little bit of dimension without being too bulky. So yeah, I do really like these. What I've done is I've got two of these little pointy cardy bits. These are ones that you sticking plant pots, right, with the name of your herbs on. I can't remember what they're called, but yeah, the sticks, pointy sticks for the purpose of this video. I've put 2 on there with 1 word on this side, and then I'm going to have 1 of them with 2 word strips on the other side, or 2 phrase strips on the other side. Having a look through the laser cuts there, see if there's anything I want. Having a look through the stickers, I find a word strip that I'm really happy with. I don't think it goes quite there. It sort of cuts the page off, gives a dead end before you go over to the next side. So I do try it on the other side as well. I do end up using that and actually add in something else as well, but you see in a minute. So just adding these 3 pieces down the side here. It's 3 sort of arrow embellishments on the sketch, so I thought they go quite well there. I had thought I was going to add it to that rub-on sentiment bit, and I do end up moving it. So this is going to go all the way down the side over the top of my flower cluster, and then I get the stickers and I choose another word to add as well, because I decide with that black being there, it sort of cuts off, doesn't flow, and adding something else really helps. So there we go, finished layout. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the playlist. Have a great day. Take care. Bye bye.